Spyro 2, Ripto's Rage, or Gateway to Glimmer if you're in PAL regions, is the second game in the PlayStation 1 trilogy and is a favorite in many of the fan eyes. This is also the game that received a massive overhaul on the visuals, character moves, and overall feel of the game that gave us the dragon that we know and love today. Like the rest of the trilogy, I've spent far too much time playing this as a kid and know the intricate details of it. After I made the challenge videos on Spyro 1 and 3, which you should so check out after watching this video, it would only make sense for me to attempt that same challenge on this game. So, in this video, we're going to try to find out, can you beat Spyro 2 without collecting gems? The rules for this challenge are identical to the previous two. I have to keep the total treasure count at 0, collect as many orbs and talismans as possible, and the challenge ends when I defeat Ripto. Like the previous challenges, if you're going to attempt this for yourself, take Sparks and just chuck him out the window so he doesn't run the risk of picking up any gems. With all that set, we begin in the first level of the game, Glimmer. In Glimmer, I avoid some gems on the ground and get hit 3 times by an enemy to get rid of Sparks. As I flame the enemy, a white orb pops out of them. Yeah, for some reason in Spyro 2 and only Spyro 2, the enemies don't drop gems. Instead, they drop soul particles. Ooh. These particles are used to unlock power-up gates that are inside of levels. So, I'll have to defeat as many as I need to in order to unlock those power-up gates. Going into the cave, we are officially introduced to the biggest scumbag of all time, Moneybags, who's asking us for 100 gems to open up the bridge. What Moneybags doesn't know is that Spyro 2 is by far and away the most broken game of the original trilogy. I'm going to be using a trick that is only available in this game called Double Jump, which is an unintended mechanic in the game that allows Spyro to gain more height when he jumps. At a standstill, jump, and at the peak of the jump, hold the charge button while still holding the jump button. Using this trick at the edge of the bridge steps, I get enough height to glide and hover over to the other side of the bridge, avoiding paying Moneybags. You're going to be seeing me using this trick a ton throughout this challenge, just because of how useful it is. After clearing the bridge gap, I can go and collect the talisman for this level. Going back across the bridge gap, I double jump onto this giant gem and onto the platform above to get the flight power-up to light all of the lamps inside the cave. Doing this awards me the first orb of this challenge. I then shoot down 6 lizards to collect another orb. And finally, I light up some more lamps to collect the third and final orb to complete Glimmer. Going through the Glimmer portal, I land in the first of the 3 homeworlds, Summer Forest. Completing Hunter's tutorial grants me an orb, and walking to the edge of the final platform of his tutorial, double jumping and gliding to this mountain, I can hover and just barely land on the platform and collect an orb that I wouldn't normally be able to because I need swim to reach it the proper way. There is an orb later on in the homeworld that I'm unfortunately unable to collect due to it being in an area that's inaccessible because I need climb in order to get there. And also I would most likely accidentally collect a couple gems up on that platform if I got up there. Instead, the next level I will take on is Idle Springs. After helping the people take down the enemies that they themselves made, I am given the talisman. And then help Hula Girls destroy an idol to get an orb. The final orb in this level is not able to be collected because the first puzzle of the side quest is normally accessible via swimming through a tunnel, because I don't have swim unlocked, and because I entered this area through the roof, I am soft locked in this area. So that means I have collected all I can of Idle Springs. Next up is Colossus, which is home to one of my favorite voice lines in this game. After a few double jumps across the walls and higher platforms, I'm able to reach the end of the level to confront a very agitated Yeti.
I'm a vegetarian. I think you should kill that Yeti.
I then get told to commit murder, but luckily for me, the Yeti was then given the easy way out. After that whole debacle, I'm given the talisman. I then go over and play Canada's favorite pastime, hockey. I win once with just an opposing goalie to get an orb, and again with an actual opponent to get a second. Finally, I have to fix the professor's mistake of releasing evil spirits that took over the statues across the level. Doing this gets me the third orb and completes Colossus. We now run into a roadblock. To access the rest of the homeworld, I need to pay this waste of oxygen moneybags to teach me how to swim. Like I mentioned before, this game is by far the most broken of the trilogy, and there's a way to bypass having to purchase the swim ability. Going up to the platforms of Hunter's Tutorial, double jump near this pillar and glide into a section of the pillar that does not have any collision and land into this room. This trick bypasses swim and gives us access to the remaining levels of the homeworld. And the first of those is Hurricos. Performing 2 double jumps allows me to skip some platforming to shut down the factory and get an orb. Walking across some of the upper landscape that isn't usually accessible grants me another. Deactivating an electric fence gets me the talisman. And finally, take down 10 gear grinder thieves to restore power to some machinery, collect the final orb, and complete Hurricos. Entering Sunny Beach, I'm immediately stopped by a giant pool of water that I can't swim in. This also prevents me from getting one of the orbs in this level because some of the crates that you need to break are underwater in areas that you can't get to without having the swim ability. Luckily, I can still get all the other collectibles in Sunny Beach, because this game, like the other two, has a feature implemented in called proxies. This is a failsafe that is used when Spyro gets stuck between 2 pieces of collision that he shouldn't be in, which then causes him to get shot out of that spot very quickly and can result in reaching extreme heights. Lining myself up with this wall and charge jumping into the turtle's head, with the right positioning, I perform a proxy jump that gives me enough height to glide to the end of the level from the opening in the roof. Standing on this plate and charging into the room before the door closes, I can collect the talisman of this level. I then spent the next hour trying to hit the proxy again to get the orbs that are guarded by a ladder that I cannot climb. Hitting the proxy again, I mess up where I was supposed to land and have to hit the proxy for a 3rd time. I hit the proxy on my 2nd try, glided over to the platform, and rescued some turtles from becoming part of a stew to collect an orb. And then had to do it again to collect another orb and finish Sunny Beach. Going to the first of the flight levels in this game, Ocean Speedway, I can't attempt the time attack because it'll give me gems if I try it. So I decided to go straight to the orb mission.
Welcome to the Ocean Speedway. Come back and see me after you've completed the entire course.
Or not. This means that all 4 Speedway levels are not able to be completed, and we will have to skip those orbs. I now have to find a way to get into the final level of Summer Forest without giving this dumb bear my money. Climbing up some steps, I first jump to another platform that's blocked by a door to collect an orb, and then do a double jump onto the giant wall that's blocking the final level of this homeworld, Aquaria Towers. Flaming this button raises the water level up, which then allows me to double jump onto the end of the level platform. Be careful when up here, because if you do accidentally end up talking to the NPC, because he's not underwater, he won't give you the talisman, and you'll end up soft locking the game. I then perform a proxy jump off of a sheep fodder to get to this higher area. Dropping down, I flame another button and fill the entire level with water, and somehow also grants me the ability to swim. So that's cool. Swimming back to the end of the level, I can now collect the talisman. I then go through some bubble rings to get an orb, and again to get another. King Flippy is missing 6 of his children, and it's apparently up to me to go and save them. Father of the Year recipient right here. I decide to swim straight into the floor and eventually get out of bounds, go right to the 6th child, free them, and collect the orb, leaving him to collect his other 5 kids on his own, because I'm not their parent, and that's not my job. And this finishes off Aquaria Towers. Exiting the level, I then get teleported to a gate that gets unlocked after collecting 6 of the 14 talismans. I drop into the hole and enter the first boss area of the game, Crush's Dungeon. After easily defeating Crush, I land in the second homeworld, Autumn Plains. Jumping into Skelos Badlands, I take down some lava lizards to get an orb and do a more difficult version to get a second. I then rush to the end of the level to get the talisman, which I think is a very cool looking design, by the way. And finally, help restore Uga's bone friend to get the last orb to complete Skelos Badlands. Like I said in the Spyro 3 video, this bone dance is still better than the reignited one.
Good God! It's hideous.
Crystal Glacier is next, and I'm immediately stopped by this covetous barbarian asking for more of those gems that I do not have. I then proceeded to jump onto this ribcage, double jump to a nearby hut, and then double jump and glide over to the area that he put a paywall behind. Right there, Moneybags. Right there.
You can't see it, but I'm flipping you off right now!
Defeating all the enemies and freeing the ice builders from their ice causes them to roll a giant snowball into a building and granting me the talisman, which is the best designed one in my opinion. My reward for helping George get back to his owner is an orb. And finally, torching some Draklets grants me the second orb to finish Crystal Glacier. In Breeze Harbor, I double jump from the beginning platform and glide over to the wing of the ship at the end of the level. Torching the enemies on the ship, I light the fires to lift up the ship so I can go collect the talisman. Blowing up 8 floating landmines gets me an orb, and then I get to do everybody's favorite minigame in Spyro 2, driving the trolley.
Trouble with the trolley, eh?
That fucking bird that I hate.
Well, it would be trouble if it wasn't possible to just jump onto the track and collect all the gears on foot. If you accidentally jump onto the cart while doing this, you'll have to reset the minigame in order for the gears to respawn. After getting all the gears, my reward is an orb and completes Breeze Harbor. Back in the homeworld, I'm cucked by Moneybags because he thinks it's funny to make me pay him to unlock Zephyr. So unfortunately, we cannot do this level. I then get double whammied by this bear because I don't have the money to learn how to climb either. So I need to find another way to get into the next area of levels. I double jump onto the wall and then charge through a cracked section of a pillar at the end of the wall to collect an orb. Walking towards the edge of the wall, I double jump and let go of the jump and charge to have Spyro flop onto this connecting piece of the castle. Double jump over to this green roof and double jump onto this other connecting piece. I can glide to the remaining portion of the homeworlds and skip having to purchase climb. The less money I can give this stupid bear, the better. Going into Scorch, I help Hunter put some monkeys in a barrel to get an orb. Collect the talisman from Greta. And help out Handel receive 3 flags from Bombo the Flag Keeper. Maybe there's a reason why he goes by Bob now. After taking back the flags from Robert, we are given an orb and complete Scorch. Entering Fracture Hills, I free all the bagpipe boys to uncover a giant castle and collect the talisman. I then decide to cheese the supercharged section and do a tiny loop by the building to break down the door to get an orb. Helping this dumbass alchemist get Hunter's feet out of some stone grants me another orb. And I unfortunately cannot get the last orb because I do not have the head bash ability. So that is all I can get in Fracture Hills. Back in Autumn Plains, I come across this obnoxious bear yet again, and he tells me that I'm so poor that I won't be able to unlock Shady Oasis. So, the final level we can do in this homeworld is Magma Cone. Double jumping onto the background terrain, I glide over to the center cone and drop into a cave where I can challenge Hunter to collect 10 crystals before him. Doing so gets me an orb, and collecting 15 more before him grants me another. At the ending of the level, I go through the flight power-up gate and perform a double jump to get on top of the volcano thing to close the lid and get the talisman as a reward. Finally, I take down 12 lava monsters and stole some party hats to get an orb and finish this level. With all the levels that I can access completed to the best of my ability, I go to the second boss gate, and Alora tells me that I need all 14 talismans to access this boss. And last time I checked, I only have 12 of the 14. So we're going to have to find another way into the boss area. Jumping back onto this connecting piece of the castle, I double jump onto this roof and glide over to this other section, and glide again to an even larger chunk of the roof. Double jumping near the slope and flopping over the peak gets me near the top of the castle. But before I do this next trick, I go up to the highest point of the castle and glide all the way to a tiny little island to collect an orb. Back on top of the castle, I jump down to perform an out-of-bounds trick to clip into the boss area. Before I do this trick, it's important to not charge this cracked piece of the wall at any point in time, because if you do, this trick cannot be done. Lining myself up with the edge of this wall, hold L2 until the camera hits the wall, then what I like to do is tap left every time Spyro's front leg hits the ground. Doing this enough times will drop you into the wall. If by chance your shadow drops to the floor and you don't, recenter the camera, move a little bit to the left, and jump and glide into the wall to reposition yourself. Once you're clipped in the wall, I like to angle the camera to where this little white part of the wall is at the edge of the camera's view. You're then going to jump, and at the peak of the jump, hold forward and perform a charge glide. A charge glide is where you press square and then immediately press X to glide. To consistently get it, what worked for me was pressing the square button with my index finger and then swiping diagonally to the X button. It might work differently for you, but that's what worked best for me. As you do the charge glide, keep holding forward, and if you did it right, you will start gliding out of bounds and have successfully performed Gulp Skip. Glide over to the giant red and orange tube to get into the second boss area, Gulp's Overlook. After kicking Gulp's singular tooth in, I then head to the third and final homeworld, Winter Tundra. Jumping into the first level of this homeworld, Mystic Marsh, I bounce up to the end of the level to get an orb. Yes, I did say orb. There aren't any talismans in any of the levels in this homeworld, so we're just going to be collecting a bunch of orbs from now on. I then bring back the professor's pencil and get to hear the best voice line in this game.
Say the line, Bart!
My pencil!
And finally, catch 4 thieves to get this man's spark plugs back to receive an orb and finish Mystic Marsh. Talking to the professor and meeting an orb requirement, I can go into Cloud Temples. Freeing the city from evil warlocks gets me an orb. Totally not following Agent Zero to his secret base without him knowing rewards me with another one. And finally, ringing some bells to prove to Mergen that I can in fact complete his little excuse of a challenge, gets me an orb and finishes Cloud Temples. For what I hope is the final time, Moneybags is blocking us off from reaching the rest of the homeworld unless we fork over gems to learn Head Bash. We won't be doing that. Double jumping onto this rock arch, I can double jump again and glide to this part of the terrain, turn around, get onto this small part that I can walk on, and double jump up to this wall to access the rest of the homeworld. Using a whirlwind, I get to the top of the giant staircase and can technically face the final boss now because I meet the 40 orb requirement. But you all should know by now, there's still more orbs to collect. Using the whirlwind again, I glide over to collect an orb sitting on the end of the castle wall. I'm not able to get this orb on top of the waterfall because I can't get enough height to reach it, and the normal way requires swim. And I also can't get another one because I need Head Bash in order to get it. So that's 2 orbs I have to miss out on. Going over to the professor, he unlocks our next level, Metropolis. Entering the level, I'm immediately stopped by a platform that only activates by head bashing it. So this level cannot be completed. I very sadly exit the level and walk over to the final level of this challenge, Robotica Farms. Torching some robot bugs to help protect this guy's farm gets me an orb. Activating a giant bug zapper grants me another. And smashing pumpkins. No, not that one. Smashing giant metal pumpkins on the supercharged trail grants me the final orb we will collect and completes Robotica Farms. With that level done, it is time to complete this challenge and face the final boss, Ripto. Flaming Ripto a bunch of times makes him summon a Robo-Gulp, and after attacking that a ton, he turns an orb into a giant robot bird. Consuming an orb of my own, I gain the Super Flame and the Flight power. And after a close aerial duel, I land the final hit, and Ripto falls into the lava, ending his reign of terror on the people of Avalar. The Power Crystal and Guidebook become one, the last of the Ripto banners disappears, and credits roll. So the answer to can you beat Spyro 2 without collecting gems is a resounding yes. Looking at the final total of collectibles, I was able to avoid all 10,000 gems, and was able to get 44 of the 64 orbs, bringing our total to 52% of the game complete. It was super fun finding all the little tricks in this game to make this challenge possible. By far the hardest trick for me was the turtle proxy in Sunny Beach. For some reason, finding the timing for that took ages to get, and Gulp Skip was honestly shockingly easy to perform. Completing this challenge also finishes the original trilogy of Spyro games. It has been a blast going through these and finding out every trick that is mostly unique to their respective game. If you're considering doing this challenge, I would highly recommend it. As for me, it's one of the more easier games of the trilogy to do this challenge on, and lets you appreciate this game with its quirky worlds and intricate details even 26 years after its release. Thank you all so much for watching this video. This one surprisingly did not take as long as the other two did. This one only took me about 2 months to write out the script, record the footage, do the voiceover, edit it all together. And I think it turned out really well, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it. This is unfortunately the end of the original Spyro trilogy, but they did just announce recently that in summer of 2027, they are coming out with a brand new Spyro game. And I am so excited for that. If you guys want to see some more of these challenge videos, maybe I'll try some other Spyro games. Maybe we'll branch out and do some other franchises. I don't know. Let me know, and I will try to attempt those. So, with that being said, I want to thank you all again for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and I will see you guys in whatever I may do next. Laters!